take it up for my boss. Let me see the fire emoji now, my people. Let me see the fire emoji. Yay. Let me see the fire emoji. Emoji we fresh. Yes, Grace is ready. Grace is on fire and she's ready to take notes. All right, guys. This session is recorded, right? So by the time we are done, I'm going to drop the recording on the group. Without further ado, we're just going to dive straight into this conversation. Welcome, everyone. Please, you can share this link to your community on your status. Get people to join us. Let's just say a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this meeting. Lord, we ask that your wisdom rule, guide our thoughts, and help us to execute. That will not just be hearers alone, but will also be doers. Will also be doers in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. So I just want to do a quick introduction of the Iceberg Show, and then I'm going to welcome our guest. Just going to read his bio, then welcome him. So the Iceberg Show is a show that was born out of my passion for the concept of productivity and Africa as a continent. So I was doing a research last year, and population of Africa is about 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion Africans in the Africans in the continent of Africa, and out of these numbers, out of 1.5 billion, about 60% are under 30. About 60% are under 30. And when you look at the socio-economic landscape of the continent, you realize that the continent cannot do more than the productivity of the individuals within the continent. So it simply means that the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next decade of what Africa will be is dependent on that 60% that are under 30, right? And it is largely dependent on our productivity. I think there's one thing that many young people have not come to the realization of, is that when they see a successful entrepreneur out there building their business, scaling their career and all of that, they are excited. They want to copy results, but you cannot copy results. You can only copy principles and produce that same result, right? But then there are also behind the scenes principles that many successful entrepreneurs wouldn't just say out there, because most times when they are invited for speaking engagements, they give them 30 minutes, they give them 45 minutes, and then they are just rushing. And sometimes there are questions that we want to ask them based on our own context, what we are currently going through in our businesses or in our personal lives, that we are not able to ask them because we are in a conference with over 1,000 others, or 500 others, or 5,000 others, right? But with the Iceberg Show, I am bringing successful African entrepreneurs to share their behind the scene, what keeps them productive, what helps them make decisions that drive real growth within their businesses. Okay, and so we're starting with Google Meet, but trust me, in a few months we're going to be having these sessions in the studio, and then we're going to be going live on YouTube, and then we'll have all of those classy stuff that we know about shows, right? My name is Carlos Wabizi, and I'm a growth strategist and also a productivity coach, right? So with time, you're going to know more about me. But right now, I'm going to be reading the bio of our guest and then bringing him up. Mike Ike Benjamin is a dynamic professional wearing multiple hats as a speaker, serial entrepreneur, an astute human capacity developer, psychologist, and a life coach, renowned for his ability to consistently ignite mental transformation using several groundbreaking frameworks to meet the high demands and need to impact human behavior, empower leaders, shape culture, democratize prosperity, and to point this to a first century generation towards the right path. He believes in the possibility of total emancipation from all forms of limitations and such desires that everyone gets an opportunity to new beginnings through adequate knowledge. He's a procurement specialist, a project manager, and a policy and strategic leader with about 15 years of industry experience working with several multinationals and indigenous organizations, mainly in the oil and gas, marine, construction sectors. Over the years, he has devotedly given his time, energy, and resources towards astute service delivery and capacity development in diverse dimensions with evidence of productivity and total transformation in several lives and organizations across the nation and beyond. He is an alumnus of the prestigious National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, a graduate of Management and Strategy Institute, Pennsylvania, USA, an MBA student of the Rome Business School, Italy, Dominion Leadership Institute, and the Great University of Port Harcourt, amongst others, with several degrees, certifications, and awards. He's the MD, CEO of MI Resource Service Limited, an oil and gas servicing company, MD, CEO of Ace Imperium Limited, co-founder, AfriTutor International, Ekohe Designs, amongst others. He also currently serves as a pastor at Dominion City Church, and he is happily married with 2 kids. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can make use of the fire emoji, just use the fire emoji. Use all the emojis that you can use as we make welcome Pastor Mike Ike Benjamin as he takes the stage. Thank you, Kelvic Arts. I can see you. I can see Stanley. I can see Gosville. I can see. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. Yes, 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 yes. Over to you, man of God. Over to you, sir.
Carlos, I want to believe all of that you just read wasn't me. My name is just Mike, and I'll prefer it that way.
All right.
Anyway,
sir.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Trust you all had a very good day. Mike Ike Benjamin, that's what they call me, and it's a pleasure to be in your midst tonight. So I was told I'm just here to share something little about the process, the behind-the-scene process. So I promise to be as simple, as plain, and as practical as I can be. So thank you very much, and I hope you would learn a thing or two. God bless you all.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. So very quickly, first question. Before I ask the first question, I would beyond your name, let's meet Mike Ike Benjamin in his own words in 2 minutes, beyond what I read in your bio.
Okay, personally, I would like to describe myself basically as a reformer, a catalyst, a change agent, one who's designed or destined to help people discover, develop, and deploy themselves into the right spaces where they have been designed to be.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So to our first question, so this is a business show, right? So my question is going to be directed towards business, and we have a lot of young entrepreneurs on the call that have growing businesses. We have budding entrepreneurs with ideas, and some of them are wondering, okay, I have multiple ideas. Which one do I start with? Which one do I focus on? Which one do I know that would work? So I'm going to be asking questions around business. I know you wear many hats, but it is your business hat now that we want to see. So first of
Of
all, can
course,
you
of
can you
course.
tell us a little bit more about your business?
Okay, when it comes to business, I do a whole lot,
Okay.
but our core centers on the oil and gas and marine sector, basically.
Okay.
Engineering, procurement, marine support services, marine logistics, and the likes of that.
Okay. Great. Great. So how did you get into this business? What's the background to it?
Okay, for me, it's been a long time coming. When it comes to business, first of all, I tell people the origin of everything is self-discovery.
Hmm.
You should be able to discover yourself, to know who you are. There are people who are called into the business world they are born entrepreneurs, and there are people who are called administrators. Entrepreneurs are, people who are meant to be out there in the field doing business, while there are those who are meant to manage businesses for others. So there are people called into the career sector, and there are those called into the business world. Now, when you discover this is what you're called for, this is what you ought to do, the business world itself has several segments and several areas. For me, I discovered long ago while I was in secondary school that I was called out into the procurement world, into the logistics world. But then I didn't know it would center in the oil and gas space. Growing up in secondary school then, as far back as, more than 20-something years back. Then
Sorry,
when phones
sorry,
newly
sir.
came out,
Can
now
you
this is
your camera is tilted towards
is it
yes,
better this way?
yes, it's better this way.
Okay.
Can go ahead.
So basically, I started up in secondary school selling phones, phone accessories, and all of that when phone newly came out. Though then it was contraband in school. I attended an FGC school, and it was what was it called? A boarding school, and we have these guys. When we go to town, then we have these guys bringing phones from Benin. These were monophonic phones then, before the advent of polyphonic phones, and now it took years before the advent of smartphones and all of that. So then I was just so interested in this thing, buying and selling. I just want to get it from my suppliers. Then I'll come to school and I'll sell it to my colleagues, them rich kids that I really wanted to, feel among and all of that. And it was very smooth. It was going all fine and good as at then. And I've always known that I had a flair for this. So even after I left the secondary school, came into university, I kept seeing myself as someone who would do well entrepreneurially than doing a 9 to 5. Of course, I schooled in the University of Port Harcourt for undergraduate, and after school, yeah, I did try to get jobs because then, of course, it was a bit difficult also starting up. And I tried and tried, I couldn't, and along the line, I decided to go all out. I started off first in business. I failed woefully until God had to bring someone my way who stood in as a mentor for me. And then the rest is history today. But then it all boils down to discovering myself and what I had interest and flair for. So even if I had gotten the job for a 9 to 5, I knew that I wouldn't stay there for long.
Okay.
I knew I wouldn't stay there for long. But don't get me wrong also, not everybody's called into the business world.
Yeah. So something caught my interest. You said when you got into business at first, you failed woefully until somebody came in as a mentor figure. So can you shed a little bit more light on the process, on that mentorship structure, that made you succeed eventually in business?
Okay. Just like every young chap who's enthusiastic and goal-oriented, we have visions we want to achieve. I started out in the procurement business, first in the construction space, not in the oil and gas, in the construction space. Started up supplying sand, supplying, building materials, basically. But then when I was doing that, I had this nudge in me that there was more. So to cut the long story short, I delved into oil and gas. Also coupled with the fact that I was in Port Harcourt at the time, and I'm beginning to learn a lot about the oil and gas. Of course, I studied petrochemical in my first degree. So I was like, okay, this is the space where I would want to play in. And I just got to find out, okay, what needs to be done. They say you can get this, you can supply, safety materials, you can supply PPEs, you can do this. And I just started scouting out for companies where I could, just do delivery, supply, sending my invoice, get paid and all of that. And I started out 1, 2, and I didn't know that there was a process behind the business that begins with knowledge, the technical know-how. I wasn't well informed, I wasn't well equipped with knowledge. The same way I dived in, I got kicked out. I failed, I lost out in a whole lot. And after that, just like an average Christian would do, I started crying out for God, this, that. And then it dawned on me that there's a need for mentorship. There's a need for mentorship. I tell people every space has gates, and they have gatekeepers manning them. To climb, you need someone at that level to bring you up. You need someone at that level. So not until someone gave me a hand, I couldn't come up. And that hand was a hand of mentorship, basically.
So I'm still curious. So what did this person do for you exactly?
Okay, the first thing first was to bring me into their space. Now, when it comes to mentorship, what I tell people is this: you are the one seeking to be mentored. So you're the one looking for a favor, not the mentor. You know what you want, so you need to be ready to go all out for it. As at that time, I knew I needed to learn the business of procurement in the oil and gas space. I knew this was a challenge for me, and I had to sit under someone who is doing well to learn how the business runs, how the business operates, and all of that. So what I told him when I was introduced to the guys, I said, allow me come and serve. I didn't say employ me. If you tell your mentor employ me or what have you, you're trying to put a burden in him, because what if he doesn't need an extra staff as at that time? What if he doesn't have a budget for an extra payout in terms of salary as at that time? I wasn't looking for all of that. I just said, give me the opportunity to serve. Allow me come around. And I was like, okay, if you're serious, the floor is open. I lived, somewhere a bit far from his office as at that time. But guess what? Because I know exactly what I wanted and how paramount it would be then to my career path, I would leave my house every day, Monday to Friday, 1st to 31st, January to December, every year, to report at his office, just like a regular casual staff. Without any form of payment, without any form of salary or compensation whatsoever. I would show up there, I would sit around, and I would start looking at, how things are being done there. How things are being done there. I'll see him give instruction to his staffs. I'll sit around to see how they carry out those instructions. When I'm around him, I'll hear conversations. I tell people some things are taught, some things are caught. So I would, at every given opportunity, I'm just there to draw. I'm just there to learn. I'm just there to know how things are being done. So I know, just like Solomon said, I sat at my father's feet and, I was just drawing from that well of knowledge. That was all I was doing at that time.
Some things are taught and then some things are caught.
Yes.
This is so powerful. I'm really enjoying this conversation. I don't know about others, right? But you see, success is not accidental. It is not accidental at all. So you see now that you see this story you just shared now. This is something that you may not share out there.
Yes.
Because like, it's mind-blowing how you said you would report at his office every morning, Monday to Friday, from January till December.
Yes.
This is the process. And you knew what you wanted. You were focused.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back there. But I want to ask, because now somebody will be thinking, you were not receiving salary January to December, Monday to Friday. Then how were you able to was there a side business you were doing while you were serving? How did you
survive through, right?
Exactly, the survivor phase, while you were learning and serving?
Okay. Truthfully speaking, it wasn't an easy phase for me as at that time, because I was also going through a process myself. It wasn't an easy space for me at that time. I didn't have a side business I was doing.
Okay.
But I was just open to anything that could keep me going in terms of sustenance.
Okay.
So while I was there, of course, in the office, there were days I didn't have transport to go. But there's a saying, they say, when there's a will, there'll just surely be a way. Somehow God provided a cab guy then that will come, carry me and my friend, Monday to Friday. At the end of the week, we pay him, So from the beginning of the week, we start knowing, okay, we have bills piling up. So even in the office then, they say when you hang around the barber shop for a while, you end up getting a free haircut. So once in a while, then maybe once something comes up, you'll be like, okay, the thing they say, why teaching people how to fish? Give them some little fish. You understand? So once in a while, I'll be like, Mike, are you guys okay? Take this 5K, take this 10K, sort out yourself. Sometimes he buys food for us in the office, we get to eat. Sometimes he sends you on an errand and leaves the change with you. I don't know if you get that. So those were the things then that was keeping us going. Then after a while we're learning, he now sublets some of his jobs to us. Some minor things, like, okay, go and source for this thing in the local market here. Then when we get it, just do maybe 5% markup. You understand? So he as at that time, he was giving us some little leverage, because he was also fully aware of my state as at that time.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't come often also, but we're also open to other things just to keep us going, basically.
Mind-blowing. So you made mention of a friend. So yeah. was that friend also within the procurement setting with you at that point?
Yes, he was.
Fantastic. So there's this belief I have when it comes to relationship, right? So we have our mentors. You had one, and then our mates, people on the same level with us, trying to grow together. And then of course we have subordinates and mentees and the rest. So while you were starting your journey, you had a mentor, that had
Yeah.
gone ahead of you, and then you had a friend on the same level with you
On the
that you
same
go to,
pedestal, yeah.
yes, that you go to work with. So guys, that is very important. It's important you have a mentor, and then you also have like people around you that share the same vision and same focus, so it helps you stay aligned. Before we move on to the next thing, I don't know, my spirit is just still very strong on this subject of mentorship. Now, many years ago when I started my journey, I had a mentor in a particular area that was not necessarily business, and years later I discovered that, oh, it's important to have a mentor in an area where you desire to see results, right? So
Yes.
if I'm going to ask you, how do you choose your mentors, and how do you've made mention of the fact that this particular mentor was in line with your business. How do you identify somebody as a mentor aside just, okay, a business mentor, maybe like a life mentor or a life coach or something?
Okay. This is
Because
what I
let me just
tell
say this,
people.
because a lot of young people these days have multiple mentors, and they just spread themselves too thin. You know, they have mentor A, mentor B, mentor C, mentor D, and they're just all over the place. So how do you ensure that, what advice would you give to young people to help them stay focused on maybe one or two mentors in the areas that is really important to them?
Okay, when it comes to the subject of mentorship, let me start by saying it is expedient everyone who wants to grow gets a mentor. Mentorship, they say, people say experience is the best teacher, right? But I tell people, no, experience is not the best teacher. Mentorship actually is. If I were to be moving from point A to point B, and in between point A and point B is a ditch, and unknowingly I fell into it and broke my leg, and it took me 6 months to heal. Another person going through that same path, without knowing there's a ditch there, would also fall in, break his or her leg, and take their 6 months to heal. True of us?
True.
Now that's experience. So next time when you're passing through that place, you already know. But you see what mentorship does? Mentorship helps you leverage on other people's experiences, thereby shortening your journey to your destinated place. So having gathered my experience, I can teach from my place of experience, letting people know that coming through from point A to point B is a ditch. So having gotten to know that by virtue of mentorship will save you that 6 months healing process. I don't know if you get that.
Yes.
So while instead of sitting idle trying to get healed, you use that time to do something better. That's what mentorship is all about. Now, it is also expedient that in every area of life, it's advisable to have mentors. I've seen people who got a spiritual mentor and they think that person can fit in as a business mentor. Your spiritual mentor might not necessarily, in quotes, be a business person. I don't know if you get that.
Yes.
They could be advantageous towards your spiritual growth. They could help you get to know God better. They could help you get to study better and all of that. But they might not be the right person for your business growth. So when it comes to mentorship, find out the area where you need to be mentored and get the right person who is actually doing well in that field of endeavor and has something to offer. And let me also say something quickly to our fellow Christians on this platform. Your mentor does not necessarily need to be a born-again Christian. Let me say it again. Your mentor does not necessarily need to be a born-again Christian. And yes, you're hearing it from a pastor. Daniel was mentored by 4 different hidden kings in Babylon. Are we still together here?
Yes, sir.
Joseph was mentored by Pharaoh, served under Pharaoh. You're not coming to learn their character. You're coming to learn their expertise. Take what you want to learn and mix it with your own values. If you say you want to sit down and wait for he has to be born again, yeah, God can send you one. There's nothing wrong with it. But it might take you a while. It might take you a while. Daniel was in Babylon, but he never defiled himself with the king's meat. Joseph never allowed the corruption of Egypt to infiltrate his soul. So when it comes to mentorship, you're not coming to learn their value system. You're there on a mission. Basically, they are experts. Pick out from it and influence them if you can.
Yeah.
In the area of values. So when it comes to business, one of the things God helped me with was to give me a mentor, someone I could sit under and learn the nitty-gritty of that particular trade. And having sat under him for a period of, I think, about 4 years, there was a lot I was able to learn at the long run. And here we are today. I tell people I happen to be one of his best mentees. One he's very much proud of. So mentorship is necessary in every area of life if you want to grow fast.
If you want to go fast.
Yes.
Awesome.
If you want to grow fast. Mentorship is leveraging on the strengths and experiences of others.
Yeah. Powerful, powerful, powerful. I can see the emojis coming, echo pins, shows that they are getting value. Kelvic Arts, Goswell, Onome. Thank you guys for the emojis. Now, let's move to another dimension of this conversation that has to do with strategy, right? You've been in business for more than 15 years. So the question is, what is your framework or strategy when it comes to scaling? So let's say you are currently at point A, or you're making, say, 20 million a month in revenue, and you want to scale from 20 million to, say, 100 million a month. Do you have a framework or a strategy that you've used over the years to consistently scale from where you are to where you desire to be? Is this something you'd like to share with us?
Okay. First of all, let me say there's no growth without strategy. There's no growth without strategy. But it doesn't also end with strategy. It ends with implementation. It ends with implementation. All right, I'm led to say something. You know, there are people who think you can be jack of all trades because you just want to make money. It's all about the numbers. No, it's not so. I tell people, be a master of one first. Then through that one, you can scale and expand into all other areas. Let's say, for example, you're into sales. Let's say you sell shoes, you sell clothes, you sell, or you're into product and services. And You started out all nice and good. You have this, clientele base you market to, and they patronize you every now and then. And let's say on an average, you started with ₦1 million monthly. Or let me break it down to 500K for some persons that are here, so they could easily relate. Now, first of all, you must be someone who takes stock and keeps record. I tell people, without record keeping, you can't also measure growth. Let me say that again. Without good record keeping, you cannot ascertain or measure growth. You can't tell if you're making money, if you're growing or not. Now, having got to understand that this is where you are, pardon me, I'll make a bit of reference to the Bible. God was talking to Abraham. He said, from where thou art. Then he now said, look northward, southward, eastward, westward. Say, as far as your eyes can see. The first thing was for Abraham to first of all recognize, acknowledge, and accept where he is. Many business people fail to realize or recognize or acknowledge that this is where they are. Wake up to that reality. This is where you are. Then you now need to sit down and ask yourself, what and what do I need to do? Where do I need to get to? What's my vision? What are my projections? What and what do I need to do to get to where I need to be? Talking about scaling. What do I need to do to get to where I need to be? Let's say you want to move, your numbers from 500 to 5 million by the end of 2026. Sit down and ask yourself, number one, what are my targeted audience? My target markets. What am I called to? What am I supposed to be reaching out to? Because not every business or every market is for everyone. Not every product, not every business, not every service is for everyone. I can't be a owner of a Rolls Royce dealership and I'm coming to market to Uniport students. Won't I look like a joke?
Big joke.
It's not about that there's crowd in Uniport. No, beyond that, there's crowd. Some people are moved by crowd. Oh, people are plenty here. Let me go and market them and all of that. No, it's beyond that, my friend. You need to sit down and ascertain your targeted audience. Who are you sent to? What do you need? What was your target market? What do you need to reach out to? Then after having understood that fact, realize this is who my target audience is. The next one is, how do I get to reach out to them? You need to be like them to be able to sell to them. You can't be selling real estate, for example, and you're looking like someone that needs help. No, you can't. Selling real estate and you're approaching someone on the road, your shoe is swearing to God, your shirt, your white has turned to brown, and you're looking somehow. At the first glance of you, I will assume you for someone who want to come and beg money. I'll just bring out 500 or 1,000 and just give to you without even wanting to hear what you will say. There's a real estate market on this call right now. I just saw it so much. So basically, that was the mechanism the banker started, operating in the early 20s. I'm talking about the early 2000s, rather. That's why you see bankers, they'll tell them, dress this way, you have to look this type of way. Because you can't be talking to me about opening an account and talking about money, and I can't commit my money to you when you're not looking like money itself. So you have recognized who your target market is. You have recognized the fact that I need to look like them, because every market requires acceptance. You have to be accepted into that target market to be able to make an impact, to be able to lay hold of it. So I think you need to understand that, okay, these are the people I need to reach out to. This is what I need to do. So the next question is, how do I sell? I've been selling at this scale. How do I upscale? Do I go into XYZ model of marketing? Do I reach out more? Do I do one-on-one outreach? Do I do freebies and what do you call it? You know, do I do all of that just to get promotional, do promotions here and there? What do I need to do? So having gotten to sit down to ask yourself all of those questions, then you go back to your drawing board and start strategizing. On Monday, this is what I would do. On Tuesday, this is what I would do. On Wednesday, this is what I would do. You make a routine out of it, and then you discipline yourself to get it done, to getting it done. Believe me, you at the end of the day, the results will start coming. Something happened to us between last year and this year. We thought about upscaling because we needed to, get our numbers high. We started looking, even inside every sector, every space you find yourself, there are other opportunities tied to that your business. You need to look deep into it. You're selling cars, you can add tires to them. So while people come in, you can tell them we also do car servicing. We sell spares and parts. I don't know if you get me. So beyond the person buying a car from you, he knows he would always come back to have his car serviced. If he needs spares and parts, he knows where to come to. I don't know if you get that.
Yeah.
So there are other things attached to it. So all you need to do is sit down. Many a times, business people are just on the surface of their business. They are just on the surface. That one thing they just want to. Yes, it's good to stick to that one thing, but after having gotten grounded on it, look into it. I'm not talking about branching out this time around. That same one thing, there are other opportunities tied to it.
Yeah.
So just, step by step, and the rest to be history.
Fantastic. So much value from this conversation. So we're going to be rounding up very soon. I know that we have people in the audience that have questions to ask. So I'm going to be opening the floor very soon. But before I open the floor, I just want to share with the audience, talking about strategy and vision. One of the things that our guest speaker talked about was that you're going to scale, move from point A to point B. You need to have a vision, and vision talks about where you see yourself, say, in 5 years or in 10 years within the scope of what you want to scale. And then you talked about projections, and then sitting down to ask yourself questions. One of the things my mentor always says, that question deepens, answer expands, and it's so powerful. And that is why I had to put together a digital product. It's called Sales and Structure System. So if you are a budding entrepreneur on this call and you want to scale from point A to point B, then this is a product that you will need to get. So last year, I'm the founder of the 10X Productivity Club. Last year, one of my clients, she came on board, and after 30 days, we were able to help her scale her business to over 300% in increase in revenue in 30 days. And then by December, she told me that she was already overbooked, right?
Wow.
Just because of this system. So I discovered that many people could not afford the joining the 10X Productivity Club. So I had to compress that system into a digital product, and it's just for 15,000. In fact, right now it's on a discount at 10,000. So if you're interested in learning how to scale and move from point A to point B, I would drop the link after this session on the group, so you can get it tonight. After tonight is going back to 15,000. Okay, so I'm going to open the floor right now for the audience to ask questions. If you have a question, you can just use the this hand emoji here. Just raise your hand, and then I am going to get you to ask your question. We have 10 minutes to wrap up with this conversation. If you have any question, please let me see your hand. If you have a question, all right. Ebenezer has a question. So Ebenezer, you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Ebenezer. We can hear you.
So, my question is this. At every point in my business, when I'm about approaching a new, let's say, a new phase, for example, I own a snacks brand. Then the first stage was only me. I started the business. I was selling everything. I was one-man business. Then I was about to employ my first salesperson. I was afraid. But at this current stage, currently I've been doing 8 months of business. I want to open a physical location, and I'm very scared because I've done my calculation and everything. The amount needed to launch that physical location is quite expensive, and I gave myself a 6-month period to raise that. Now I want to know, how can I fight this fear, and what are the means by which I can develop to ensure that I raise the funds necessary to launch out my business and to scale to that level?
Okay, Ebenezer. Let me start by saying every entrepreneur, every successful business person is a risk taker. You just have to face those fears and do what you have to do if your business must grow and expand. Let me give you a little instance. We have the first expatriate working in our team right now. In my company, we have the first expatriate. Of course, you know what it is to hire an expatriate in Nigeria. Outside his pay being the highest on my team, we're also obliged to give him an official accommodation and an official car. But you see, in the space of 2-3 months that the guy has been with us, just him being on our team, the profits we've gotten will pay his salary for 1 year. Initially, when the offer came and the conditions, I was scared, like, how am I going to do this? We're not just talking about a big pay fat check. We're talking about official house, official car. Yeah, though we had our terms, he has to do X, Y, Z, and then we'll meet up with all of this. But I'm going to go. He been on our team alone. Outside his salary, there are commissions that is open to receiving, as long as those jobs are coming from him directly. So when it comes to business and getting to employ people, it's an avenue for growth. Yes, you will make a mistakes here and there, you might get your fingers burned, but you will learn from them. It will not stop you from growing. It's better you try than not trying at all. Employing people is you leveraging on their time to make more for yourself. Of course, at a fee. So don't get bothered, don't get worked up. I understand, that first time employing someone and the feeling that comes with it. But tell yourself it's for the betterment of your business. Then you can, do close supervision on whatever it is the person is doing, guide them where they need to be guided. And believe me, at the end of the day, it will be a smooth ride for you.
Fantastic.
Did you get that, Ebenezer?
Ebenezer, are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Sir Mike. Thank you very, very much.
Okay. So let the fear go. Just own up to it. And believe me, you will do well. Having run that business for 8 months, believe me, you will do well with the person on your team.
Fantastic. All right, one more question before we wrap up. Kelvic Arts. Kelvic Arts has been active on this call. So Kelvic, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Kelvin, good evening.
Thank you a lot for the information today. So my question is, what are some secrets to building a strong relationship with a new mentor?
Simple. Let's just go straight to the point so we can have another question. Number one is honor. Honor. Now, one thing that mentees do is that they get familiar with their mentor. And familiarity rather will deprive you of access. Let me say something. The person in quote I was talking about when I said I sat under his mentorship for 4 years, blah, 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 blah. This person is my friend, though. He's a little bit older than me.
Wow.
Just few years older than me. That's my friend. I had to humble myself to sit under his mentorship. Yeah, initially at the beginning, I was coming with this level of friendship, and you can't rub shoulder with someone who is meant to be your boss. Who don't pass you. You need to humble yourself to learn.
Yeah.
And there was friction while I was doing all of that. I saw that I wasn't gaining much. Until, by the help of the Holy Spirit, I had to know that's come. I have to reverence him and put him in the place where he is. So I came and I said, you be my Oga, teach me. I'm sorry for all of this. And so honor is the number one key. The Bible says the less is blessed of the greater. Honor will keep that door, that access continually open to you. Then service is the next thing. You're there to serve. Those are the two basic things. You're there to serve. Play your part and watch the rest turn out for your good.
Fantastic.
Can we entertain one more?
Okay. One more question. So there's a question. There's already a question on the chat box. So I'll just read it. It says, "Good evening, sir. Please, I would like to type my question. Is it possible or expedient to run a business that you're not fully knowledgeable about, but has a manager who knows better?"
Okay, when it comes to running a business you have no knowledge about, what I advise people is this. For every business you want to venture into, try as much as possible to know a thing or two about it. You might not necessarily know all that there is to that particular business, but try to learn a thing or two. Know it. Then, if you don't know all that there is, then also try to give some level of time and attention while you have someone with vast knowledge manage it for you. Why you need to know anything or two is so that when you don't come and they are speaking big English and telling you things just to bamboozle and confuse you while they are siphoning your funds without you knowing. So at least then also get people you consult as regards to that business so that you can, you'll be open to variations at the end of the day. Comparing what you're being told from whoever is managing it to whatever information your consultants are giving you. That way you can be on a safer spot. Precious, did you get that?
Precious, you can just okay. She said yes, sir, on the chat box. So if you have any extra question, please, you can drop your questions in the Iceberg community. We just have 2 minutes before Google Meet takes us out of this call. But in the next 1 minute, I just want us to appreciate Pastor Mike. I call him Pastor Mike. He's my Oga, my mentor. I can see Echo Paint, I can see Goswill, I can see Chioma. Guys, keep it coming, keep it coming. If you can unmute your mic, you can unmute your mic and say thank you, sir. Yes, or you can drop it in the chat box.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm grateful, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Oh yes. Keep it coming, keep it coming.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh my God, guys, if you got value, just let me see it in the chat box. I got value, I got value, I got value. Just keep typing I got value on the chat box.
I got value.
You can also go to the Iceberg community and just be typing I got value, I got value, I got value. Take a screenshot right now of your screen, post it on your status, and guys, invite people to the community. Our next edition is going to be mind-blowing. I feel like we need to bring Pastor Mike again, guys. I don't know about you, but I feel like we've not exhausted him. So we'll bring you again in one of our editions, but we want to say thank you for honoring our invite. This is the first edition of the Iceberg Show.